All right. Welcome, everybody, to Season 3, Episode 17 of MotivateMe313's podcast. We are officially live and ready to get this show on the road. Another great topic for you all to listen to today, an important one for the community as well. So we're looking forward to sharing this conversation. First of all, let me introduce everyone who is in the building today. Of course, we got little big bro Yusuf Thabit on the ones and twos in the back doing his thing. We appreciate him as always. To the right of me, we got Sister Sada Thabit looking clean as always as well. Shout out to Sada. Of course, you got myself, Omar T. And then to the left of me, you got the other sister, Abir T, in the building as well. And our guest for today is Afeefah and Summar. They are in the building. Shout out to Afeefah and the Summar. Ready to talk about environmental.
That was wild for them.
Huh?
The crowd's
the crowd got excited. They're looking forward to the conversation about environmental sustainability. That's for sure. So shout out to the crowd, ready to get going, ready to get things rolling. But again, looking forward to the show today. We have a great topic for you. Like I mentioned, it's all about environmental sustainability and how it can affect our communities. Before we even dive into the topics, be sure to follow us on all of our socials. You have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Oz Media. You can listen to the show later on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. And if you want to call in, I got my phone right here next to me. The number is 313-306-1750. Again, 313-306-1750. Shout out to all the sponsors, of course. You got Balkan House, Juice Box, Qahwah House, BC Adhesives, Specialty Medical Center, and Hanley International Academy. We appreciate them and all their support. And Yusuf, let's go ahead and start off with our friends over there in Wisconsin. You know, Packers made the playoffs. They ain't win a division like the Lions did, but the Packers did make the playoffs. We were talking a little bit of smack with Matt Cassidy recently. So we're going to go ahead and give a shout out to the business that his family owns, which is BC Adhesives. And then we're going to continue to get things rolling. So shout out to BC Adhesives. You know, I believe it's very important for every team to stick together. And what I do here at Oz Media to make sure we are all one glue is I stop by BC Adhesives.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what it's used for.
Nah, Yusuf, it's not. But you can go to BC Adhesives for all your industrial adhesives needs. They do food packaging, book binding, product assembly, and many other industrial services. So if you're in need of adhesives for your business or having trouble with your current adhesives applications, you can contact them by phone 1-888-679-9825 or go to their website at www.bcadhesives.com. All right, we are officially back, and I want to start off, to do the check-in, of course, with my sisters, just to say hello and how y'all been, since last week, because last week we didn't do much talking. I think Sada did more crying than she did talking last week, but it was a very important conversation. But Sada, how you been? Everything good with you?
As long as you don't make me cry anymore on this podcast, we'll be fine.
It wasn't me.
I know. It was really nice. But yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm good. Just a little disappointed on, my sister's cat. She kind of scratched my cat's eye, and his eye is watering. It's been 3 days. So I just wanted to call Smoke out on that.
We're going to have a cat update on the cats every single week.
First of all, she's like 2 times smaller than him.
But she's ferocious. She's ludicrous.
No, she's so sweet with people. She just probably doesn't like other cats. She's so sweet. Her cat will not let you touch him. My cat will let you. She loves getting pet and held and all of that.
He's a boy.
She's a girl.
Well, let's go to our guests, Afeefah and Summar, just say hello to them and check in. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? What is it that you guys do? And anything you'd like to mention for the audience to know a little bit about yourselves? Starting off with you, Afeefah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Sana. My name is Afeefah. A little bit about myself. Let's see. So I'll just start off by saying that I'm from Dearborn. I grew up in East Dearborn. And I originally, my father comes from Lebanon, so I spent some time there as well. Really got a sense of what it's like to live overseas as a child, actually, alhamdulillah. And I think, what else? That's my background. So about me right now, I still live in Dearborn. I'm very passionate about sustainability in and around us, like in our daily lives. And I work as a user experience engineer. So I have my master's in human-centered design and engineering. And I'm really trying to meld the two. So basically combine user experience with environmental sustainability and just create solutions for people to be able to be more environmentally conscious in their everyday lives. So,
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it. And then Summar, how about you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, salam. My name is Summar. I am a mom of 3, I guess. I homeschool. I do have a PhD in anthropology.
Wow. Nice.
And so I guess like Afeefah, I kind of incorporate, my understanding of, my background and expertise into my passion of sustainability. I'm not as active, but I had a blog called the Cozy Home Chronicles, and I would share content about sustainability and sustainable swaps and things that we can do to kind of be more environmentally friendly. So that's something that I've always been passionate about, and I'm excited to have this conversation.
And we're excited to have the both of you here. Obviously, you both have great background and knowledge in the topic. So looking forward to hearing what you both have to say. And can you tell us a little bit about Metro Swaps as well? Because I know we're gonna talk about that a little bit as well. So what is that all about, Metro Swaps?
Yeah, so essentially it's twofold. On one hand, we hold swaps. So our intention is to create community spaces where people can participate in a circular economy. So instead of having the things that we use in our everyday lives just go to the garbage or the landfill, even if they're perfectly nice or new, like even with donations, if you donate them, very often the stores, like the thrift stores, will have to throw away the excess if they've been there for a while, if they're not viable or usable. So what we're trying to do is put a disruption to the
landfill.
Yeah, exactly. So actually we're trying to mend a disruption, if you think about it that way, which is just completing a natural life cycle of something. So we have clothing swaps, book swaps, plant swaps, just a bunch of different kinds, whatever you can think of, even art swaps, whatever people have the need for, are interested in. We just want to cater to the needs of the community in that way. And then the other one is workshops. So we just have very intentionally sustainability oriented things like mending workshops, and we want to have composting workshops, and we even touch on the mental and emotional aspect of climate change, where we have like art therapy workshops and zine making workshops. So just trying to touch on like a very holistic aspect of it, like trying to paint a whole picture of what it's like to exist in this transitional time between very industrial based things.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right? To a more just and equitable future for our environment and ourselves.
Do you see a lot of people joining these swaps? Is it something that's growing, or is it?
Yeah, honestly, alhamdulillah, we've had really great turnout. It depends, of course, on the location and the time of year and the product, I think you could say, the item that we're swapping. But I will say every single time our workshops have completely been full. It's been a very, very great experience to be able to have hands-on activities that people can participate in. We were even in the Dearborn Summer Market last year.
Nice.
A couple of times we had booths and we had swaps there, but we also had activities for everybody to do. But honestly, it was really cool to see what people were interested in, because for the seed ball making workshops, we got a lot of kids, but for the zine making workshops, we got a lot of teenagers. So I think just because of our backgrounds, the objective is not just environmental sustainability in and of itself. It's really incorporating those practices into our community and providing spaces for people to participate in them on a community level and then take the stuff with them home. We always want people to take something home with them.
Yeah, for sure. The experience, and then something they could take home, win-win.
Exactly.
And I don't think you mentioned your role. You are the founder, one of the founders of Metro Swaps as well.
Yeah, so
it's a nonprofit organization, by the way.
It is a nonprofit. We are registered as a 501c3. I'm not the one who registers. My cousin, she did it for me. We're a family affair.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So it is comprised of me and my sisters and some friends and cousins. And alhamdulillah, it is a community entity for the community. We saw something that we were interested in. We've had smaller scale ones between just friends, but I think it was really apparent to me that we needed something that was on a wider scale. So the first ever swap we ever held was actually at Black Box Gallery. So shout out to them. They really Were very generous with their space and their time, and
Coffee shops are really a good place.
absolutely. And we held it outside too, so it was very
That's cute.
accessible. And people were kind of like a little bit like not weirded out, but like, what do you mean it's free?
New. Yeah.
it
It's
is
new. It's different. It's not something that they're used to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, but yeah, I mean that's kind of people's initial reaction. That's how it's gonna be all the time. So
When was it established?
2020. So do you
nice.
guys remember when the floods
COVID, man.
happened?
Oh, and the floods.
Yeah, or 2021. 2021.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So after the floods, it was very apparent that a lot of people's like things were ruined, and some people had their bedrooms in the basement and stuff like that. So like my family and I got together and we were like, okay, let's just have like a community-based swap. So we had a lot of stuff. We just started it with our stuff, and then we told our friends and they showed up, and we just had like a really cool event, and it was really oriented to like that concept, you know, of really like showing up for the community. I don't know how many people who lost their things in the flood showed up, but people were really interested in it, and
For sure.
everybody like took things home, and people were asking us, okay, I didn't know about this, so when's the next one?
Right.
And that's basically how it was born.
Yeah.
People asking us when the next one is. So
You know, they say like a good business or a good nonprofit is if there's a problem and then you solve the problem. So
there you go. So Summar, we'll start off with you. You know, we kind of touched on environmental sustainability, but let's answer the basic question of why is it important to address environmental sustainability in our communities?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are many, many reasons why we have to, seriously address environmental sustainability. But I guess maybe for selfish reasons, are the health and wellness of our communities and the longevity of our communities and success of our communities really depends on sustainability. You know, you guys are old. We talked about our age before, but we're all old enough to remember times before, especially this year. This was a drastic year in terms of noticeable climate change. The winters that we grew up with as kids.
bro, we never had snow yet. Like
Oh my
what
God.
is
Like,
going
Yeah,
on?
I remember like November used to be already snowing, and I'm wearing my biggest jacket and it's freezing, and now it's like November we were like chilling with 60s
Yeah,
this year.
it's really it's sad and it's kind of scary. I have kids, and they're asking me about snow as if like they've never really experienced it the way that we have experienced it. This last year with the wildfires and the terrible air quality, there was a lot of events that we had to cancel outdoors. I mean, we try, like one of my big things as a homeschool mom is connecting kids with nature and getting outside, having them, go back to their roots. And we had to cancel a lot of events and spend a lot of time indoors this summer because of the air quality. So these things affect our communities. They affect our health, and we need to kind of figure out, how to address them in a, community-friendly, sustainable way.
Yeah, I forgot about the air quality
Me too.
time.
I was thinking that. I'm
and
like, damn.
it does make you wonder, like, man, we did have a rough climate environment year in terms of like, all that stuff. So it's like
And the
definitely
fact that our daily, life can affect it in a positive way, like why not start small and work on a couple things that can avoid.
The wildfires went on and on and on and on too. So it
and
sucks.
so we kind of talk about how it can affect us, and people also wonder, how this can affect also in terms of Islamically. So my next question to you is like, how does environmental sustainability kind of connect with how we as Muslims should be carrying ourselves as individuals, as community members as well?
I love this question so much. We talk about this a lot. So first and foremost, I'll just start off by saying like, we read in the Quran a lot about nature. There's so many, and it's just, they're a sign for those of you who understand type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, we really have a connection to nature. We're made out of earth. We are 70% water. Like, there's no doubt that we are part of our environment, and it's very like emphasized in Islam. But I will say a really key point that we need to understand is that the earth is our aman, it's something that's been entrusted to us. It's a responsibility that we have to take care of. These animals, they are part of our test, how we take care of them, how we take care of the environment around them. Our descendants are also part of our test, what kind of world do we leave for them when we go back into the earth? Because again, we are part of the earth. And I will say, the more that you start pulling at the threads of just all the problems in the world, the more that you understand it is really our duties as a Muslim to participate in whatever, I guess, not just preserving practices we can, but like
not being wasteful.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So, I mean, that's one of the threads. Waste is a huge issue, and we're taught to not be wasteful as Muslims. Yeah, exactly. And we're taught to take care of our natural surroundings. The Quran literally talks about bees. It talks about, and bees are dying, you know? Like, these things are very essential to our existence, and it really is part of our test, how we decide to go about taking care of, like, our environment. So.
And you want to add on anything to that?
I think, like, when a lot of people think about Islam, they think about the praying, like the kind of outward visible, you know, things that we do, but we are like, Islam is a lifestyle, and we like taking care of the environment and these values of justice, which when we kind of unravel some of the things that are happening with sustainability, with the environment, you find that there's like unethical things happening. There's injustice, exploitation. All these problems are connected together. And as Muslims, like this, our lifestyle is to uphold and join good and forbid evil. And we have to like do that as, you know, Muslims. Even sustainability is a huge part of that.
Listen, I'm going to go ahead and admit something right now, okay, Yusuf? And here we go. I need an air horn, Yusuf, for this one too, by the way, all right? This is important. All right.
I don't know what he's going to say.
No,
I'm nervous.
I know. I'm not, I just want to be completely honest, because when we have this topic, I was like, you know what? I'm going to, you know, share this. And so I'm going to be honest. Growing up, I was one of those people. I was part of the problem, you know, and I'm going to say this because I feel like when you tell somebody to like...
He used to kill bees.
No, not kill. I mean, we did have a story about killing bees. I'm not going to lie to you, but that was like when I was 10. I'm talking about like when I was in high school and like somewhat old enough to know, but I was so ignorant to like, you know, at the moment. I'm talking about throwing trash on the ground, as simple as that, right? Like to me, I was one of those people like, you know, it was just normal. It was just part of, you know, it was just normal. And you know, you grow up with, you know, when you're surrounded by guys and you'd be like, you know, it's like you picking up trash is like not kind of like cool in a way, like, you know. And so and it took me to like more realize of, you know, knowing the religion and understanding the religion to really, you know, really understand that like we are being un-Islamic, you know, when we do that. You know, we are not doing our part as Muslims when we are throwing things as simple as trash on the ground, you know? And it bothers me now, like till this day now, you know, when I have my younger brothers and I'm in the car, as soon as I see him roll down the window, I was like, you better not.
Yeah.
I was like, you better leave that in the car. I was like, until we get home or until we, you know, get to a place where we could throw it away, even if it's something that's like obviously inconvenient for him to hold and maybe he can't put on the floor or something. So he's going to have to hold on to it until we get somewhere. So I kind of like put a little bit more emphasis into that
I want
for
to
sure.
add on to that. I feel like growing up too, I mean, when I was in high school, there was something called the Green Buddies, but it was just new. I would love for you guys to meet Miss Madden, Jessica Madden. You would love her. But it was like more of like, if you loved the earth, you were like a hippie or like just, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's not the case. Like, it's okay. It's actually, you know, it's a lifestyle, like you guys said. So, yeah, I can see what.
Cleanliness is a part of Islam. It's a very, very big part of Islam.
And it kind of leads to also my next question, Summar. So how can us as the community like use like technology or community, you know, driven, you know, initiatives to kind of promote environmental sustainability and kind of show people like, you know, this is what we should be doing. Like, especially like, you know, high schoolers, I feel like they're still stuck in that phase of like, I mean, I'm not saying everybody and not mostly. I mean, it is getting a lot better in terms of people being educated on it, but I still feel like it's an issue. Like where they don't maybe understand, even if you take it from an Islamic perspective. I mean, let me hear what you have to say. Like, what do you think would be the best way possible?
Yeah. So for me, I, like, especially as an anthropologist, I always go back to culture. I think, and some of the things that you guys touched about is that like we grew up in a culture, and I mean, not to like say that we're all blameless. Like we do have choices, and we could, you know, make better choices, but. We do have a culture of convenience, you know, throwing the trash to getting it out of sight, out of mind. We have the culture of, like you said, only people that are hippies or, you know, whatever, tree huggers are people that, you know, should be caring about the environment when it's something that it's like our duty, our free human beings' duty.
Yeah.
So I really think like technology, especially the social media, the World Wide Web, like can bring that information can help us challenge those paradigms, those cultural ideas that have led to some of the unsustainable practices that we, already, participate in, the systems that already exist that we need to challenge. One of them, like especially with metro swaps, I think, and I wanted to talk about this a little earlier, is we were kind of pleasantly surprised with the kind of engagement, because one of the things in our community, like especially among Arab, is like there's like taboo about using.
Yeah, and that pride. Honestly, I think it's pride too. Like I love going thrift shopping, but some people don't. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that you can flip furniture, also clothes, like but it's like a weird. I know what you mean.
It's like
taboo.
hype. Like
Hype is the perfect word.
But now, but now that thrifting is like a trend now.
Yeah.
So like everybody thinks it's so cool.
But like that's
culture
because
shift.
that's a culture shift
Yeah.
from sharing on social media, like content creation, these like events where that bring community members together. So it normalizes these kind of practices.
Yeah.
I was telling my cousin the other day. She was at the thrift shop. She was looking at furniture. I was like, bro, if I didn't have to like work to live, I would take pieces of furniture. I would sand them. I would color. I would just do that. Like I would create new pieces from old pieces, and but we gotta make money.
No, but I love that you said that, because you just touched on a couple topics actually. Like number one, if you didn't have to work to live, you would do something that you loved, and what you loved would be productive, and it would be art, and it would be beautiful.
Yeah.
And it could even make you money, because you could sell the pieces after, you could gift them, you could swap them for other things that you need to live, So I just think that's one point, is how we are working to live.
Capitalism, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And my other point is, we are naturally predisposed to want to create things, and we've always been borrowing from the past. I mean, people have taken down houses to build new houses, you borrow stones from crumbling old walls, There's always been a human need to interact with the environment around us and use it like as a tool, and technology is just another tool. So I really want to emphasize that fact that what we do with the technology is what will result in the results that we need. And that was not very well phrased, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that was perfect.
It's how you use the technology. So I actually wrote a list earlier today, because I was thinking, like, how do I use technology in my daily life to help me be more conscious, like as a conscious consumer? And as I was thinking about that, I was putting on a YouTube video of like somebody's garden, and I was like watching how they garden, and that's what I do for fun,
Yeah.
So
Probably calming.
yeah, extremely calming. There's a Chinese gardener, a farmer, and for like a period of my life, like especially during the pandemic, when you're like depressed about the state of the world, that was all I watched. So definitely had a lot of influence on me, and I think that those are the types of things that we should. If you're primed to see it, then you will seek those things out, and you will like retain the information. So that goes in with culture. If we have a culture around, hey, like our mindset is we're just trying to make every decision, right, consciously. We're conscious consumers. We are consciously disposing of our waste. We are consciously like living, paying attention to the weather, noticing shifts in the weather, how we were talking about earlier. We are in tune with it. We just need to tap back into that and really understand that we can make decisions on the day-to-day that are beneficial in the long run, rather than, like we said, short-term gratification that is really detrimental to our well-being in the long run.
Great points. Great points. And I know Metro Swaps is doing a great job with that. Is there any other organizations in the community right now that are doing a great job with, making sure we are environmental, we are sustaining our environment well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Friends of the Rouge.
Friends of the Rouge. We volunteer with them all the time. And there is Keep Growing Detroit, which is a huge farm. There are actually a lot of farms in Detroit.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that really inspired me. And I came back to Dearborn and I was like, where are all our farms? Like, come on, guys. We come from farmers, we come from people who grow things. My jiddo came and he's like, why are you growing grass? And he started ripping up the grass. Like you can't eat this. This is not, actually, let me make a point about grass right now. The turf.
Here we go.
I'm on my soapbox.
We might have a fun fact right here. This might be a good one. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to say it. So 2 things. Number 1, the sod that we plant and we see in normal lawns, normal culturally, is actually not good for the environment at all, because the roots are very short, so it does not retain water, which leads to more flooding and water runoffs, right? And then the idea that we have that it has to look perfect means that we use pesticides to kill any weeds, right? Which means that we're killing a lot of the native plants, and the pesticides then run off into our water. And then the last point is, we have this idea that we have to keep it clean of all leaves and debris and all that kind of stuff, but like, things live in those leaves, you know? And if you actually leave them, and sometimes even if you mulch them, I don't know if that kills the things living in them, it'll actually nourish your grass, because the whole point of what, like, the life cycle is that the trees drop the leaves, which feed everything on the floor, right? And then the mycelium comes and it eats everything. Okay, I'm going on a tangent. I could go on.
Listen, I thought that so I don't rake my leaves.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just gave us a reason to not rake our leaves. I'm so happy.
I want to hear.
Okay, but you know,
I'm about to send this clip to anybody that questions me from now on.
but they say, like, people were saying that, because I was like, why do we have to rake our leaves if that's, you know,
nature.
Yeah. And then at the parks, leaves fall, nobody rakes the leaves. You know, you're just thinking.
Yep.
But they were saying that if it's too much on the grass, it will like kind of,
your glass.
yeah, and then fungus will grow too. That's what I heard. But I don't know.
Well,
So maybe just take like a little bit.
yeah, well, you can put
Like, spread them out, spread them around maybe.
So you have beds, you can rake them into the beds and then leave them to grow, to decompose there, and they'll actually feed
Oh, that
whatever you
makes
have in the
sense.
beds too.
Yeah.
And they'll keep it covered for the winter. So there's
actually makes
there's a
sense.
function for everything. SubhanAllah, honestly, we don't need to be stressing about any solutions, as long as we are becoming more in tune with the natural systems that exist. Like, we're already halfway there, you know, and the technology that we have and we can develop should be to better understand the systems that already exist. You know, we shouldn't be making like giant outside carbon capture devices. We should be figuring out, how do we create an environment that is like naturally taking in carbon, you know what I'm saying, carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
So how do we plant more trees? How do we have better, like,
More
actually
green
less
spaces.
pollution?
Yeah.
More green spaces. Exactly. So it's just about your mindset.
There's a lot of community farms in Hamtramck. Like, anytime there's an open green space, like, there's at least 5 farms in Hamtramck, and Hamtramck is a 2-mile radius city.
Amazing.
So it's just to keep up.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that usually affects that situation.
Yeah.
Salina,
What has
Has
school,
a
they have a
green-
garden.
they have a
Yeah,
green
they have a
room.
garden, and then they have a team that goes, and we can also teach outside. They have like tree stumps, like, for the seats. Like,
I
it's
love
super
that.
cute. Yeah, and the kids take care of it, and then in the beginning of the year, when it's like harvest time in September, November, they want everything out. Like, they come grab whatever you want, and it's pretty nice, honestly.
That's so cute.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Great conversation so far. We hope that you are learning a few things. We're going to go ahead and give a shout out to our next sponsor, which is Specialty Medical Center. We're going to give a shout out to them, and then we're going to keep things rolling. So shout out to Specialty Medical Center.
All right, Yusuf. So, the other day I was playing basketball with my friends, doing what I usually do on the court. But as I was driving to the lane, I kind of hurt my knee.
Oh man, not again.
Yeah, but this time I knew which place to go to that would take care of me the best, and that is Specialty Medical Center. Specialty Medical Center is a medical center that prides itself on patient care and its rehabilitation services. Their primary focus is developing a customized treatment plan unique to each individual patient's needs. Their center offers a full range of patient care, from diagnostic testing, pain management, physical therapy, regenerative medicine solutions, and surgical care. They currently have 2 locations, one in Dearborn and one in Sterling Heights. So if you're looking for a place that treats your medical needs the best, be sure to stop by Specialty Medical Center.
All right, we're back. Quick comment from, I don't think it's a question, but someone commented, keep the leaves down. When you notice mushrooms grow, your lawn is fresh and great.
Yep, exactly. Mushrooms are
Well,
a sign of
you don't
health.
gotta tell me.
That is a sign of what? Good.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a sign of soil health.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, then I'm gonna go ahead and give Yusuf a shout out because that was his question. If it was a bad one, I was gonna put him on the spot. So shout out to Yusuf though. Great. Not a question, comment.
Yusuf
I
knows a lot
need
of
to know
fun
straight up.
Google.
No, Yusuf knows a lot of fun
Yeah,
facts.
Yusuf
He's
got
on
the-
the Discovery Channel.
Especially
like,
science stuff.
Yeah.
I need to know if you guys judged my lawn when y'all came here as well. Y'all look at the lawn and
Probably
be like, Okay. Just want to make sure to throw that out there. All right. So my next question to you, Summer, is basically, AI is this new thing where everybody's using AI for everything. And so how can we use AI or technology maybe to help monitor or help improve air and water quality, and if that's even something that you've ever crossed your mind or anything like that?
I mean, it has crossed my mind. It's not my area of expertise.
Okay.
But I think we do, like Afeefah said, we have a lot of the technology already. I mean, we have as we experienced, I talked about earlier, the air quality. We have the information. We have the technology to capture and measure and determine, what poor air quality is. What we don't have is the kind of technological solutions to improve air quality. I mean, we do know, obviously planting trees, more green spaces, these things, but we don't have the kind of infrastructure, the resources, the cultural catalyst for, to get people to actually care and put pressure and kind of get these solutions going. So AI and technology can only get us so far.
That's true.
And they're part of the picture. They're important, but I feel like we need that human
element in it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you want to add on maybe something to that too, or?
Yeah, just that there are programs out there. I know of some that in Detroit that actually involve people in schools where they pass out air quality monitors and basically aggregate that data to make overall not images, but paint a picture of what the air quality is like in the area. And there's a lot of like Summer said, there's a lot of technology out there that exists. I will say one of the cool, I guess not really considered technology, but I guess in a way it is. So we, like we said, volunteer with Friends of the Rouge, and we actually participated in a sort of data gathering situation where we went and we caught a particular kind of fish or bug. It's been a couple months, years, but the health and the number and the quantity of the that specific type of fish was an indicator of the health of the river. I think it was the salinity. I'm not sure exactly what specific.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, subhanallah. Well, that happens a lot where we are using factors in nature to basically gather data and then allow us to predict, right? Create predictive models to understand what the future will look like if we continue on this path and what changes we can make to stop those things from happening. So yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot of different stuff like that happening. And we talk a lot about this actually on our Metro Swaps Instagram. And I forgot to mention earlier, there are other places and entities all throughout Metro Detroit that I'm aware of that we also post a lot about. So if anybody's interested in learning more about those types of local things, just follow us and we'll keep you informed.
When it comes to the environment, I think the biggest help would be people.
Yeah.
We have to start. Everyone has to start. You can't expect a group of people doing it for you. I think everybody has to do their part. That's the only way that it will change.
And you can't even say because I was gonna think in my head it's the people don't really care about it because it doesn't it's not right in front of their face. But then I remembered the air quality was literally in front of their face. They were breathing it in, and still they're just kind of waiting for a
somebody
savior
to solve the problem.
Because I think a lot of people don't see the interconnectedness of all these things. They don't see that there may be consumer habits, their shopping, their fast fashion usage, the way that they throw food in the garbage, how these things, the way they move around in their cities affects air quality.
Yep.
So I feel we're really detached and disconnected from these natural cycles, and we have to get people to we have to basically make people aware of and reconnect to these natural cycles so they understand the impact that their everyday actions have on the climate.
And so that's my next question is how? Let's say you have a group of people right in front of you right now. What are you saying?
What should they start doing?
Yeah, what would you
Non-negotiables.
Yeah. You can start off with you.
Okay. Well, so there would be non-negotiables that I understand if you don't do, but that are non-negotiables for me, right? And then there are non-negotiables that are community-based and they're right there in front of you, and if you don't do them, then that's really like kind of on you, right? So I'll just start with like in terms of Metro swaps, all you have to do is show up. Literally all you have to do to get started is show up, right? Because you're already in an environment with people who are like-minded, right, and want to learn more and want to teach you more. And we've had some very interesting conversations. We have a lot of really cool, diverse people show up, a lot of people who are interested in sustainability, and a lot of people who are experts, you know? So there's always just like the first thing you have to do in order to make a change within yourself is put yourself like open your mind and like put yourself in an environment where you can learn.
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off for a second. Would you guys ever think about being open to going into schools and having like, you know,
Seminar.
a swap day, like a seminar, then having a swap day where people can bring stuff, whether it's clothing or, I think that would be like a,
That idea.
you know?
So
Okay, sorry, but go ahead.
no,
Keep going. You're gonna go to another question.
that's a great point because one time I was talking to my cousin. She's like, yeah, we love the book swap so much that we had one with the NHS at my school. And I was like, that made me so happy because
Yeah.
it's proof to you that this is a solution that anybody can do. You know, you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to be an adult. You can literally be a kid and be like, I'm going to have a swap with all my friends and just do a swap. you
Listen,
know?
we do it with clothes all the time.
Yeah,
But it's when you lose weight or gain weight and it's like, it's not going to be anymore. You can have it.
literally. I grew up with a lot of sisters and we wore each other's clothes. I wore my cousin's
This is
clothes.
literally Irena's skirt.
Yeah.
I love
That looks familiar.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely something like we just have to like I guess reframe how we think about things, you know, and just say, okay, the solutions are already in front of us, like how do we participate in them? So I feel like that's a non-negotiable because we're making it really easy for you. We're like setting up shop and everything.
Yes.
But I think the other one for me is composting. So let's talk about soil. Our soil is rapidly deteriorating, like in terms of its nutrition. Our topsoil, like I think, isn't the Dust Bowl just like completely deteriorated because of the farming practices? So what we like, I think a personal thing that you can do is literally just focus on building soil. Right? So we talked about how the leaves like fall and they get eaten by like mycelium and fungus and all that kind of stuff, right? That is building soil. So it's bringing nutrients back into the earth. And we can do that by composting your kitchen scraps, right? Very easy. I started my first compost in a bucket. Okay, so that tells you how like low maintenance, low thought it is. You just take all your natural kitchen waste. There are some guidelines, like you don't want to put dairy in your garden compost because of like a bunch of reasons, you know, and you don't want to put like meat or bones or anything like that. There are different kinds of compost. So there are things that are like dark garden digesters that are like stay in the ground. You don't really like remove it as fertilizer. But my like chief advice would be to just start focusing on the soil, and that like will lead you on an entire.
So what are some things that you
Yeah.
like for someone that didn't know?
No, wait. Like, what kind? Like, are you talking about like fruits and vegetables?
Yeah,
and
like
stuff
banana
that?
peels.
No, because my mom used to do that.
Yeah.
She used to do like eggshells.
Yeah, I was about to say eggshells too.
Yeah.
My mom actually has a green thumb. Like she had peaches,
Wow.
figs, tomatoes, peppers,
green peppers.
leeks,
Hot
Berries.
yes,
Yeah,
beans. Like she loves gardening.
I love that.
So she.
And then
she does her
randomly,
thing.
it was just like recently, like 2-3 years ago, she started putting eggshells and tomato, and I'm like, what is she doing? And I'm like, whatever is she got to do her thing.
Yeah, I mean they grow. So.
Yeah.
Calcium. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wait. We didn't.
Yeah,
let you
go ahead. What
finish
was
the
it? What was it?
the question,
Oh
but-
yeah. So exactly what you guys said, like vegetables, fruit scraps, like the ends and anything that you would throw away in the garbage. Essentially, if it's organic, just put it organic, meaning like carbon based, like it's
Yeah.
something that decomposes.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the compost. So
Like in a regular bucket, and then pour that into the soil.
well, there's different kinds of compost. You
Okay.
can have like a worm bin, which like you embed inside your bed, like your garden bed or the ground, and then you put worms in it, and then you put your compost on top of it. The worms eat it, and then dirt is worm poop. So the dirt then becomes viable soil, right?
Wait, dirt is worm poop?
It's a bunch of things.
Oh, okay, but that's part of it.
Yeah, it's
part of
insects,
life.
Insect. Yeah, I want to just say, don't be afraid of gross things because
Yeah.
that's like the number one thing. Yeah.
And are there cities out there that are leading the way with this, environmental sustainability, and how has it impacted the environment and also the residents?
I mean, there are, the Environmental Protection Agency. If you look on their website, they have like a list, and I mean it's a small list, but they're called green power communities, and these are communities that have kind of invested in and transitioned to using renewable sources, and they start like the EPA minimum, like just to be part of these green power communities is 5%. So it's kind of like really accessible for communities. Sadly, there are no cities in Michigan that are part of this list, and it would be nice to get Dearborn to be part of this. But there's some communities, like I think Cleveland, that make up to like 50% of their electricity usage is like renewable renewable energy.
Nice.
So there are communities that are working. They have like set climate goals. By 2035 or by 2050, we want to have this much renewable resource energy. We want to, reduce our carbon footprint by this much. Have these many green spaces. We don't have in our community, like I kind of looked to these communities as an example to kind of see like what do we need to be doing here to kind of get to that point.
Because it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. We just have to care enough to like make it happen. And there are examples of of us kind of taking initiative when it comes to things. Like I know recently this year, maybe in February, City of Dearborn filed a lawsuit against there are companies in the South End that have been polluting, and causing damage to the air quality here. So like when we have to, like, as consumers, as citizens, as constituents, put pressure on our local governments. We have to care enough to get them to act.
And as
they meet I believe every month, and every weekly Monday emails, like if you notice the air, you smell a weird smell, make a complaint, because it's ongoing. And like literally when you look out the window, when I teach, I see the factories and all the pollution. I'm just like, they're kids and they're playing and they're in the playground.
And it's been going on forever, by the way.
Yeah, and sadly, it's not unique to this area either. There are all across the United States just places that set up shop right next to schools and pollute the environment, and the children suffer.
And nobody's held accountable.
And they suppress dissent. Like, you can't complain about it. So that's why every single voice is important. Because if you... Actually, I'm going to take back the non-negotiables. Well, actually, no. I'm going to add a non-negotiable. My non-negotiable that I want to say is, if you have the capacity or the ability to lend your voice to a cause, then I think it's actually your responsibility to do that. And that could look as simple as like filing a complaint, right? Because they've asked you, hey, this is an initiative that we're trying to do. We're already doing all the work. All you have to do is just add your voice to the numbers. And that really is like, makes a huge impact. So
did you want to add some non-negotiables? We didn't really.
No.
I mean, because that is the next question too, is basically like, what would you tell someone right now, like if they're standing in front of you, basically like on a daily basis, how can they, be sustainable when it comes to, what their usage?
I think the biggest thing is honestly like looking in the mirror and kind of evaluating the things that you do every day, like the things that cause more waste, the unnecessary consumption. I think actually that's probably like the biggest thing is like what we live in, like a culture where like retail therapy and what is that, like self-care, the very kind of consumer capitalist individualistic self-care, which is very destructive, is I deserve this, I'm gonna buy this. We buy a lot of things that we barely use or use like a few times and then donate it, but we think that we're doing good by donating, but like Afeefah said, that most of that stuff, if it doesn't get sold in these thrift shops, it goes to like there are these like places that are known for like having landfills of our stuff. So evaluating what you purchase, like minimizing the things that there are so many things that are just unnecessary that we buy.
It's true.
I know, like, it's a touchy topic, but fast fashion is like a non-negotiable. I mean, look, I'll actually, this is why I don't like the word non-negotiable, because
Everybody's
There's
situation is different.
every
Yeah,
situation is
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Like
Exactly.
for kids, like sometimes I can't find things in the thrift store for like kids grow so fast.
Yeah.
So okay, sometimes I'll have to go to Target or whatever Gap
Yeah.
and get something for my kids. But like I'm not in that culture where I'm buying them like the latest trend and I have
Right.
to like keep, you know, like so it's
That's the
really about
necessities.
intent.
Yeah.
Necessities. And then composting.
Yeah.
But I know that's a little more difficult. But the easiest way to compost is honestly probably what your mom was doing.
Just throw in the dirt.
Just literally
Yeah.
digging a hole in the ground and dumping it in.
Yeah. I actually did that too.
Minimizing like how much plastic waste you use.
Yeah.
Like if you can take a reusable bag to the grocery store, like that's something like I have, well, yeah, usually a stash of bags in my car. So if I go shopping, I
Listen,
don't-
you know, we have our bags that we reuse for our like, yeah.
and then go.
We have a drawer with all the bags, so we can.
I think also going back to our cultural roots.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff is like so it comes from this kind of capitalist
Yeah.
you know, imperial colonial mindset
Yep.
of like convenience and just like,
Like,
very destructive.
same
Our
Tupperware.
culture, we reuse Tupperware. We use the Lebna container.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, our
The cookie
our
container,
grandparents,
the
yeah, the
cookie
cookie
tin.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
The sewing
Back
kit.
to our
Sewing
roots.
kit.
Yeah. Do you want to add on to like maybe the daily activities that I mean obviously electricity, right? You know, limit that, and you know, rather than
And that's
driving,
another
walking, or
traditional thing. Our dads always make sure, you know,
Yeah.
you just get mad at us if we
Shut
keep
off
the
the
lights.
lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was just saying driving, you know, instead of
Less.
driving less, biking and walking might be better. Anything else you want to add on to that too, or?
Yeah, so I do want to emphasize that point that we like come from a very rich cultural heritage that is very, for lack of a better word, integrated with our natural environment. You know, like you guys, so many times in our conversation has come up. We're like, yeah, my grandma used to do that, or my like mom does that. You know, like this is something that we just need to tap back into. So spend time with your grandparents, spend time with your mom, like it'll be a mutual exchange of information, right? Because you'll be more in touch with the technology and you can come with like new practices and they'll say, hey, actually this is exactly like something that I did when I was young, and then you guys can like work to create the next generation, which is better than all the generations that came before you, you know? So I definitely think that like we said, just reuse as much as you can, reduce your consumption. The idea that we have to buy in order to be happy is kind of like unhealthy.
Yeah.
We can create experiences for ourselves that are extremely rich and enriching and very luxurious too, that cost little to nothing or only require our effort, you know? So in our
A
time,
little bit of creative.
Exactly. You can make your own face masks at home. You can sit in your garden, and it's like you're going to the mall. For me, I grocery shop in my garden. You know what I'm saying?
That's so nice.
It's like that's where I get my dopamine boosts. And don't get me wrong, like I have a confession too. I definitely subscribed to the culture when I was young of like retail therapy. I spent a lot of time at Forever 21. You know, like I was in the mall. And it became to me something that was like, it was like guilting me, you know? You could tell that the quality wasn't good, and so you had to keep rebuying. And it's just like, why am I wasting my money and my time, like investing in these things that don't last me, that I can't wear for years, that I can't pass down as like something beautiful to my like anybody, you know what I'm saying? My sisters, my cousins, my descendants, you know, like
That's true.
I can't get clothes. I can't give clothes the same way I got clothes when I was young, you know, because the quality is reduced, because we have this idea that we always have to be at the latest trends, and the trends are not a day, you know, they're like a week, and then there's something new, and you have to be on trends. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. We've talked about like a cultural mindset, but I will say just not really caring whether you're quote unquote cool in terms of like what your peers think, and more see if like the decisions that you're making and who you think you are falls in line with your morals and values. So
You know, I want to add on to that. I like how you said, you know, using, you know, the traditions of your family members that are older, and then also bringing what you bring as well. And I do feel like there is a push for like a minimalistic lifestyle, which I like, you know. And then something that's kind of not good is the hoarder
I was
type
just
of
about to say
lifestyle
that.
of like
Because
the,
we have a lot of
you know,
hoarders in our family.
yeah. So it's like nice they reuse stuff, but at the same time they don't
Let
go of anything.
Yeah.
You
When
know?
things are done, it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would-
So.
Honestly, like I think hoarding has its own set
Yeah.
Yeah.
of connotations because you could tell that a lot of times it comes from a scarcity mindset, you know, like I might not
Yeah.
have access to this. I think though that a lot of it does come from like I do it too, like I'm gonna reuse this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to throw it away. There's no viable way to recycle it. Like let me just hold on to it for an art project to put something in, you know?
Yeah.
So
for
it's
sure.
it's a complicated situation, but I think it's case by case basis.
They just like to collect dust. They just want to see it there. When they go to their basement, oh, yep, I got that in the 1960s. Let's just keep it there.
It's a museum.
Yeah, literally.
It's funny. I just watched a video of it was like a funny dad. They had like funny dad moments, and the son who's like 30 something, and the dad is like 50 something. He was like, I'm looking for a piece. It looks like this. He's explaining it to him, and then the dad was like, hold on, and he ran to his basement. He picked it up like he finally could use it. It was a funny video. We're gonna
Relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna give a shout out to our final sponsor, and then we're about to get some motivation from these ladies as well. So prepare some motivation of how we can inspire the community to become more environmental sustainable. Yusuf, give a shout out to Juice Box. We're gonna give a shout out to Juice Box, and then we are going to get ready to get near to closing out this show. So shout out to Juice Box.
All right, Yusuf, I want you to envision this with me, okay? Imagine you just had a long day at work, and all you want is a nice, cool, refreshing drink to top it all off. Do you know where you stop by at, Yusuf?
It's got to be Juice Box.
It's definitely Juice Box. If you're looking for a place with the best smoothies, milkshakes, ice cream, cereal bars, and slushies, then Juice Box is your one-stop shop. You can try things like their Biscoff or Nutella shakes, crepes, watermelon blast, strawberry burst, or mango smoothies. And if you're looking for a place to hang out, they have a comfortable outdoor patio/courtyard area that you and your friends can enjoy while trying those delicious drinks. So be sure to stop by Juice Box. They have a Hamtramck location right there on Joseph Campo, with more locations coming soon. You'll be sure to leave there with a big smile on your face. You'll also be able to order your drinks from the new Juice Box app, which will also be coming soon. It will be downloadable on all of your smartphone devices.
All right,
That as a gift, okay?
we're officially back. I just want to quickly say this. I'm a big numbers person. To me, like whenever I read something or like what pops out the most is like a number that like catches your attention. And I don't know if you guys have these answers, but maybe you do. Like, can you guys give us like, if we don't focus on this, then maybe in 10 years this is going to happen kind of things? I mean, I know that we can't, but maybe something that you've read about or learned about, and like we can talk about, just so like this segment right here, we could like let people know if we don't do this, this is probably what's going to happen in like 10 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to grab my phone out for those because I know what to look for, but I don't know the exact numbers. But I do know that we are on the brink. You know what I'm saying? It could go either way. Like we still have time to save the planet for a general like understanding of it, right? But there's definitely, we're feeling all across the world the severe impact of climate change. There are communities that are getting like flooded out of their homes consistently. We see rapidly horrifying natural disasters and earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. And I definitely think that it is not inevitable. Does that make sense? I don't have a number, but I have a concept, and it's that it's not inevitable. We definitely can turn things around. It's not the end.
You want to add on to that maybe or something?
The only thing, I mean, I have the same concept.
Yeah.
This was the hottest year on record. Since they've been documenting and measuring the changes in temperatures. And I think we all felt that. I definitely did. We felt the changes with the air quality. We felt the changes this winter. They're not completely irreversible, like Afeefah said, but and I wanted to kind of maybe touch on this a little earlier when you asked about non-negotiables. I want to be clear that like there are things like just because we're at this point doesn't mean that we should like give up hope. Like as individuals, we should change and you know strive to be better. But a lot of the like egregious things that are happening are the result of corporations and companies that are and celebrities that use private jets that are like, you know, they're the biggest emitters of greenhouse gas.
And the military.
Yeah, and so we need to be angry, like righteously angry, and kind of fight back these systems and these you know, corporations. And I think like the whole situation in occupied Palestine recently, we've seen the power of boycotts. Like when we actually care to say, you know what, we're not going to Starbucks anymore, we're not going to McDonald's. We have so much power to do that. And I think if people realize that we could do that with sustainability, with, you know, with companies that are polluting our air and polluting our waters, that we can actually say, you know what, we're not going to support you. We're not going to invest in companies that support or, you know, pollute and, you know, destroy. Then we can, you know, have a really, really big impact. So,
Like that.
Give that a round of applause, man. Usually you're supposed to save the motivation for the Motivate Me 313 moment.
I was
It
thinking,
does-
I'm like, that was a really good clip.
Yeah.
It starts with us. It really does.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get in the clip. That's it. The clip is over. I mean,
Okay.
We're gonna fight.
let's go back to you then. I mean, I guess how can you motivate others, you know, that should focus more on environmental sustainability efforts? Like, what would you, like I said, in like a minute or so, or less than a minute, I guess, what would you tell them to motivate them to focus more on environmental sustainability efforts?
I guess like be the change that you want to see. I mean, that's something like I've personally experienced when I've made certain changes in my lifestyle. People took notice, and I like things that I would do, like my dad started doing. You know, people see me at the grocery store with reusable bags. You know, then they start to ask questions, and so I think that a lot of it comes down to you. Like if you want to, you know, be a positive force in the world, then you have to make those changes. You have to look inward, and like subhanAllah, those things will kind of naturally improve. Like people will ask questions and kind of be motivated with you.
And follow you. Same thing to you.
Yeah, definitely know that you're not alone. Like, it might seem like it's overwhelming and that there's a lot happening, but there are people out there who do care about this. And if you join them, then you guys will have more power, you know? As the people united will never be defeated. You know what I'm saying? That's my motivation. Just don't be afraid to actually like stand up for what's right, and the change starts within yourself.
Go ahead and give these ladies a round of applause, Yusuf, one more time. They did an awesome job today. This was like one of those where you can show your students in
For
third
sure.
grade. And
We're learning about the Industrial Revolution.
Oh.
So it's like kind of the opposite in a way. But no, this is very important. And with anything in life, you have to start with yourself. So it's like the advice that you guys both of you gave goes with everything in life, literally. So
we should have saved this episode for Earth Day.
yeah, that would have been good. In April.
I have a point. I forgot to make it, and I'm about to forget it again.
No. Try to remember.
No, honestly, it was just about what we were talking about.
Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, and then right before that.
At Earth Day.
No, it was before the Earth Day. Oh, damn.
He said to show this to your
Their students? Was that it?
No,
That was before.
I have.
No,
one
I
more
said-
I
memory.
remember.
There you
Okay,
go, there you
thank
go.
God. We briefly touched on this, I think, but I really want to just emphasize the fact that it's whatever is within your purview. Whatever your craft is, you can make that sustainable. That is my motivation truly for people, is that just like it starts within yourself, it starts also with your surroundings. If you are a nail tech, how do you become a nail tech sustainably? You know, if you're a fashion designer, how do you make your clothing ethical? Same thing with literally anything. A chef, an engineer, just...
You know, we were talking about it during the ad, is a lot of companies and little smaller businesses are going that route, and it's actually bringing more people to actually come, you know.
Being
Exactly.
eco-friendly.
It's normalizing it and making it part of the culture, which is what we want.
Again, they did a great job. We appreciate Summar and Afeefah. They did an awesome job talking about environmental sustainability. Believe it or not, when we're having a great conversation, next thing you know, time flies. An hour goes by, and it's the end. It's the end of the whole conversation. First of all, again, shout out to Summar and Afeefah coming on here to talk about environmental sustainability, a topic that's very important that needs to be discussed no matter where you're at in this world. It's everywhere. It's something that needs to be everyone needs to take notice of in every community. So shout out to these ladies for coming on. This was season 3, episode 17 of Motivate Me 313 podcast. We always close it out with final words. Sada, any final words and final comments?
Thank you guys for taking such a big step to something that is really big for our community. And inshallah, just it keeps motivating, and you'll see me. You'll see me come and volunteer, inshallah. This is really cool.
Yeah, likewise as well. And may Allah reward you both for all the work that you do, because like I said, it came hand in hand. Like, it was part of my life personally, like, where I was learning more about the religion, and I started implementing things in my life. And that was one of the big ones, was taking care of the environment, because that is our responsibility. Like you said, it's our manna, at the end of the day. So for those that are out there, like, just know that when you are not doing that, you really are not following the religion that you're supposed to be following. Abid, any final words?
Thank you, because I'm definitely going to implement a lot more into my daily life. And shout out to the stores that don't have bags. Like, I like that. Like, I shop at LD. I'm not embarrassed to say that, but using the boxes of the other, as my bags works out perfectly fine. So just definitely going to add a lot more in my life. So, any
final words from you?
I'm so happy to hear that. First of all of this is really heartwarming, and I want to thank you guys, because I was called a hippie and a tree hugger when I was young, and I feel like it didn't matter to me, because, like, when you know it's right, it's right,
for sure.
And it's just, it took until now, and it's been building to just, like, talk about it and share what we know and what we're passionate about. And thank you guys for holding space for that.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you so much for having this conversation. I feel it's, like you said, it's important to live your values, and sustainability is part of our values as Muslims. And a lot of people don't realize that, but I hope that, like, through this conversation, they'll be able to see that.
For sure.
For sure. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Oz Media. You can listen to the show later on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media as well. Shout out to the sponsors: you got Qahwah House, Specialty Medical Center, Juice Box, the Balkan House, BC Adhesives, and Hanley International Academy. Can you let people know how they can follow you as well?
And how they can join your events and all that good stuff.
And when the next event might be coming up, if I want to add that too.
Yeah, so we're planning our next event. Inshallah, it will be a swap. We're still getting the details figured out, but if you follow us on Instagram at Metro Swaps, we will be posting all the details, and we also have a website and a Facebook. So those can all be located in our link tree. So yeah.
Awesome. And do you have anything else you want to add? No socials, no plugs or nothing like that?
I don't care about that anymore.
Any cousins that want to shout out or anything like that? Let us know. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed and learned something from this episode.